So there's a reason why relationships are not working out, because you're not self-aware. Sometimes you could be the toxic person. You're always talking about the other person being toxic, but you're toxic in many ways. Right?
How much of a vein do friends have in relationships today?
You're asking me the wrong question at the wrong time. I just lost a friend, in that way that her boyfriend does not like me. I mean, don't tell your parents. Parents won't understand it. Because parents will say, ये mental health कुछ होता ही नहीं है. मतलब, just like my father would say, you have everything. What is wrong with you? You have a good job, you have a good partner, you have money, you have good parents. What is the problem?
Even if you are actually dating in your same age group, okay, then what in general are like the red flags that either men or women should actually watch out for? Hi, and welcome to another episode of Expert Talk with Bhavya Desai. Today I've spoken to a very good friend of mine who I think I know almost for 15 to 20 years. Her name is Aastha Atray, and she's the editor, of course, of Sunday Midday. Apart from that, she's also an author who's written a number of books on relationships as well. She also had a very popular podcast as well called Aaj Kal. Maybe you might have seen it. But the topic today and the conversation was about relationships. Now, relationships are very different to different people, and also they're different at different ages. So in this conversation, we've actually gone through that narrative wherein we've spoken about millennials, Gen Zs, how they view relationships with partners, as partners, and also on the other side, when you cross that line to take that big step about marriage as well. You know, because after marriage as well, then there is a lot that you still need to do in terms of work, because relationships are work. So this podcast is a lot about that. There is a possibility that a lot of this you might know already, but when you hear it from someone, it just puts everything into those boxes and into perspective far better. So I hope you like this one, and of course, please do subscribe to our channel if you like our work. Also at the same time, do share this with everyone, and see you in the next one. Hi Aastha, and welcome to Expert Talk with Bhavya Desai. Very interesting and very excited about this conversation today, because I think relationships are so important, and the dynamics of those relationships keep changing from generation to generation. What it used to be about like 50 years back to what 20 years back and to what it's today.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I think this is going to be a very good conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for calling me, Bhavya. I mean, I feel personally, because I did a podcast on love and relationships, and I spoke to people from every age group, be it like teenagers to young people. I mean, 25s or 35s or 45s, and love is very hard. Love is very hard to get and to keep. And I think, especially to keep by maintaining our own individualities still. So it's a very, very hard process, and people are having a hard time dating or being in relationships. And many people are now newly divorced. There are like divorce rates have gone up, I think, after COVID specifically. So there are a lot of people who are dating again, who are maybe even 2 marriages later, who are, rethinking the whole process. So a lot of people in the dating game, and it's hard.
Yes. So that's so a lot of the things that you actually spoke about are things that I really want to touch upon, because but then I wanted to talk about 2 different things. Number one, of course, is that the conversation about where the Gen Zs are today in terms of relationships, because you said it's tough, and there's no doubt about that. And then the second part of that is where I actually want to talk about relationships where people take that step forward and get married. Then again, the dynamics are really different. Relationships are different. So having said that, the first one is that what is modern dating like today?
I think modern dating, they're fooling themselves now. They've made like all these words like situationships and benching, and everything is to basically make the whole dating thing very frivolous. But I feel that's because they're guarding themselves, right? You're like saying, I don't want to get hurt. So I won't do it only. I won't fall in love, because then that makes me get hurt. So I will be in a situationship. So I have basically made it shallow for myself. Ki bhai, there's nothing in it, so what is there to get hurt? It was anyway just a situationship, right? So I feel they are capable of feeling the same hurt. They do feel the same hurt, but they have devised ways to make it sound like, who needs love? Why do I need it? I mean, it's just a fleeting thing. Do you even believe in it? So then they've devised these ways to protect their heart, right? So I feel that's where they are at, the Gen Z, I would say. They are not very they don't want to say that love has a control over their lives, so that they've made it more frivolous, and it's more about hooking up culture, as you call it. I
Right.
mean, if someone our age or 35 or 40 goes into the dating game, they're very shocked because they're like, hey, ho kya raha hai? Like, it's so easy to just hook up, right?
Yes.
But I feel they're doing that to avoid getting hurt. But kya hai, that
But-
dialogue na, risk nahi to ish nahi. I
Right.
mean, what is the point of, if you're always going to keep protecting yourself, how are you ever going to fall in love? Love is not about that.
Right. But how do you navigate through that? Like you exactly said it right, that I think everybody in this generation is not willing to put in that effort
Yeah.
to work on a relationship, which equates that they're not going to really find a lot of love.
Sure.
And then they end up in these sort of scenarios which
Sure.
are situationships.
Sure.
So how do you navigate through that?
I really don't know how you navigate through it, but I feel, I mean, there will be a point when they will fall in love. So, or they will meet someone they really want to do it with. And I hope that at that point of time, they get the right direction, or maybe they speak to someone and make the right decisions about how I want to take ahead with this person, because I really like this person and I want to give it that shot. So I want to tell young people ki it's okay. I mean, it's okay not to get attached to everyone like we did maybe in our 20s, that whoever we liked, we were in love with so many people, right? That's maybe good. I like that about it, that they're not serious about everyone they might date. Sometimes it's maybe fun to just date without thinking about where is this going, especially when you're younger. Why? I mean, I got married at 24, but I don't think everyone should get married at 24. They should have a good time, go out, meet people, see, and at 30, when you've like had your thing, then you're like, okay, you're ready to settle down, and you now are serious about maybe, getting a partner. So I feel that when they reach that point, they should tell themselves that to have a really loving or long relationship in life, you need to put in the effort. Wahan karna padega.
Right.
So you have to maybe give yourself that kind of wisdom at that time. So I'm fine if they are dating like frivolously right now, because this is how you learn, right?
Yeah, but those you're talking about experiences, right? Yes, true. But do you not feel that that's already happening? Where, for example, from what, like you gave example of yourself that you got married at 24, right? Now today, I think the newer age, whatever Gen Zs or whoever, they are obviously pushing everything back in terms of getting married far later, and which means that by that format, they're automatically having a lot more experiences than you and I did in the earlier years. So is that not already happening? Because I think already men as well are getting married as late as 35, 40.
Yeah.
Women as well are as
but
late
I
as
feel
30.
like I mean, that I feel after a while it's not a choice. They want to be in relationships, but wo ho nahi raha hai. Because I don't know, maybe men, if you're 35 or 40, you might date a 30-year-old. Women are already, I don't think men, there's a lot of it's a lot of permutation combination. 35-year-old men can even date a 25-year-old girl or a 30-year-old but a 35-year-old woman can only date a 35-year-old man or above that. So I feel they're not finding the right fits. And I also feel कि ये list banana, I need this. That has happened a lot. And the more you go ahead in life, the list becomes longer. When you're 24, 25, I feel you're just more
Open.
you're open to things, and you are like, chalo, we grew to, you grow together. So like my partner and I have grown together. It's not, we have become these people now after 18 years or 15 years, we've become these people. But people already have a list. So I always tell people that if you want my advice, please throw that list out. Go against your type. Sometimes don't even have a type.
Right.
What is a type? A type is stopping you from exploring. Somebody might be great for you or great fun for you, but you've never thought because he's not your type or she's not your type. So I really feel that list problem. And, I mean, women have this whole thing that I want this kind of a man or this kind of a, girl. I'm like, no, that doesn't do. Just get a person you have a good connect with. Spend some time with a person. Even first dates on Tinder and all, I feel don't do justice, because how much do you get to know of a first person? There might be people who have chemistry right off the bat, but that's rare.
But
Where do you
but
have it?
but what are these? What are the apps that people are using
They're on every
today?
kind of app. So I
Really?
think now a lot of people like Bumble because women have the first say, I think, in Bumble. But Hinge also, I've heard that people like Hinge because it's I think, I mean, what I've heard is that there's a lot of question answer thing happening there, so people like that. Tinder is obviously if you just want to have a good time. So I think you really need to have that mindset that I'm not going on Tinder to find someone to love.
Right.
Though I've met many people who have met people on
True.
Tinder and Hinge,
Right.
I feel it's also timing. If you are at the right moment and that person is at the right moment, you just find each other. Like, I knew someone who had met a guy on Hinge, but at that time they were not matching. And then they went and dated other people, and when they met each other again on the app, they got married
off,
like 4
yeah.
5 months after that. So because
Yeah.
they were both very clear that we want to
mindset,
get
yeah.
married.
No, so I've also actually met a few people who have
Yeah.
met on these dating
Yeah.
apps, and then I was also surprised and shocked to hear that. But is it like that where more of like the Gen Zs and all are looking at these apps from a different perspective, and the people who are actually in a different age bracket are looking at these apps are really trying to find love?
A lot of people I know who actually want to find love are not on the apps anymore.
Okay.
You know, they're trying to do it organically, or they go on the app and then come off because it's just so demotivating. Na? Ki abhi ye bhi nahi, it didn't work out, you know. So I think they find that thing of restarting the conversation again and again tiring. And as you're growing older, maybe it's taking a toll on your mental health, or every time you have to restart the whole process. A lot of people stay in bad relationships because they don't want to go back to the apps or whatever,
Right.
you know. But young people, I think, are just looking at it as like a fun thing. But then both involved should look at it like a fun thing.
Yeah, it needs to be clear.
And I do feel that you should date in your own age group, be it if you're on an app or not. So don't date a 25-year-old because they'll have a very different set of do's and don'ts that you have. So if you're a 30 plus person, date a 30 plus person, be it man or woman. I just feel even if you're on an app, don't go into that because they are looking at it very differently. You're looking at it very differently.
Yeah, because I think progressively with time, then those thought processes get wider as well.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
someone who's obviously going to be in their 20s or mid 20s, they will, and if you are probably post above 30 odd,
yeah,
when you are in that portion of your life where you really want to settle down and push your career, they might still be in a different mindset.
yeah, and you're forcing them to do something. No? You're saying, I mean, you know, people. I had known of someone who was 30 something, got married to a 24-year-old. She didn't want to get married, but she still did because you say, oh, I love this person, chalo, I'm going to do it. But few years down the line, you realize you didn't want to get married. You should have never got married. And that ended up in a divorce. So the point is that why are you forcing anyone else to follow your time line? So I feel that's why people should date in their own age groups. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing I feel. I don't know. People say love has no age group and all that.
Right.
But that's too whimsical. Matlab, it's only okay in movies. I don't know.
But I mean, there must be examples wherein people have obviously had successful relationships as well, even despite having like a big age bracket.
Could be.
Yeah, but you feel in general it's a little.
I just feel like elder women become mothers, and then men become like the caregivers type, you know, like sugar daddies. So it just goes into that thing unless both are very mature and again you have to work on those kind of relationships. So why are you in that relationship? That's the question you ask yourself. So I feel if you can avoid getting into the trope of the mother trope or whatever, then it might work, right? But does it? I don't know.
But I mean, then in that case, even if you are actually dating in your same age group, okay, then what in general are like the red flags that either men or women should actually watch out for?
Lots, no? I think in my experience, I would just feel that anyone who's asking you to change yourself is a red flag. Like, I have remained pretty much the same all my life. Obviously you adjust according to your partner because you want to spend time with them, or you want to make them happy, or you want to, you do those things that if they're uncomfortable with someone or something in your life, you'll try to make that change. But if that means that you have to change your complete being. For example, um, I might not like my partner's friend, for example, but I have to have a very strong reason for not liking that friend.
Right.
And for me to say, please don't hang out with that friend or whatever. But you have to, I'm not going to make him change and say, now don't hang out with those people because I don't like those people, right? I will adjust to it. You have to figure out a midway where you both come midway and you adjust to the situation, right? So I feel anyone who's asking you to change too much about your life or your person, like I even know people who will be like, I want to date someone who's into fitness as much as me. Arey, what is that? Like if a person, then you mean you want to date a person with that kind of body. Say that. They don't say what is fitness, Fitness, I mean, is something you motivate each other. If I go to the gym, I might, tell my partner, let's go to the gym. Let's be healthy. But I'm not going to force that. And that's not an indicator of my love for you, right? I'm just saying it so I want you to be healthy. But you can't find a partner who's into fitness because now you only want thin people or fit people. So I feel anything that you're going to put on someone, no. If you accept the person for the crazy person that they are, that's... So anywhere I feel people are asking you to give up something in your life when you're together, I feel that's a red flag for sure. You should have your life, they should have their life, and then those lives can adjust with each other, but not change, maybe.
That's actually very interesting what you're talking about. The reason is because you are talking about collaborating, having your own space.
Yes.
Because with your own identity, that even if you've gotten married, that does not mean that your identity or you as an individual has changed.
Married or living in or any relationship.
Right.
Like, a lot of people tell me, I can't believe you're married for 18 years. You do so many things. I'm like, but why would you stop being married? Stop doing things because you're married? I mean, maybe for me, okay, maybe I'll have no kids. So I have just like a more easier life to do. But I would never stop myself from trying new things. Like I went and did a pole class and they were all like, what? How can you be married? You are like this. I was like, what does that mean? Because we've made married people be this person who looks harrowed and harassed and has to go to home and cook, or I don't know, what have we made them to be? So I really feel that being your individual self is the biggest thing. Be happy with yourself before you make other people happy.
But how do you strike that balance? Like, for example, as you said that, if somebody who basically is looking to change you, that's obviously a big red flag. But understanding what that space is and balancing that space out between the two partners.
I think it's about respecting the other person's what they feel uncomfortable. For example, okay, you're going out on a boys' night.
Right.
And I'm not very comfortable with that. Or I'm like, oh, that person is there who I don't like, whatever. What could happen, whatever. So just stay in touch, send a message, call in the middle of the thing and say, ki bhai, what's happening? I'll be home now. Come back home when you said you'll be home. Just do some things you can strike a balance. It's like just being sensitive to your own needs, but also being sensitive to their needs. Why does it have to be either or? So you can do little things and then have that conversation that I understand that and I can do this much for you, but I'm not going to change who I am because then, I mean, that's the person you fell in love with. This is the person I am. Right? So I feel you can. We just don't do it. We either just like cut off things because we don't want to stress about it, or we break up the relationship.
Right.
So I feel we can do both. Yeah. That's why it all needs work.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah. But for example, now you said something about that's the person that you fell in love with. Okay. Yeah. And now from two perspectives, the perspective of somebody who's obviously already gotten married.
Yeah.
From that perspective, I personally believe that change is inevitable, like they say.
Yeah.
And over a course of every relationship or over a course of a journey of your life, you constantly keep changing.
Sure.
Right? So is it difficult then to accept that change? Because you get to hear this a lot as well, that, you are not the person that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
You've changed so much.
Yeah.
So...
But I feel that's why you have to give it some time. You have to evolve together, right? We are evolving. We all become different versions of ourselves. I don't even remember who I was at 25. At 42, I'm a very different person. And the 40s to change you a lot. Like the last 2 years I've had, you get lessons in friendship and work is such a big, because you're becoming like manager, so now you're a boss to someone. So you just get to know things about yourself you never knew. You change as a person. But I think if you are consistently communicating with your partner, which is also very important, and saying, I'm feeling this. I used to think this about this, but now I have changed. And I really feel that people who made mistakes in the past also can change. Like maybe you cheated on someone. But 5 years down the line, you might be a completely different person who will never do that again. I feel it's, when people say, no, it's not about you, it's about me. It is about them. It is because they are going through something, that they went out and found someone else or did something. It's never about you. So when they evolve and they feel differently about themselves, that's why I feel it's so important to encourage your partner to uh, evolve. Like, help them. Like, my husband is right now, he's quit his sound engineering job, and he's now doing an MBA. It's very different. You're going from a creative field to a completely, non, like a corporate field. But I have to support him, because you have to say, okay, I understand at 45 you want to make a change, and I'm here for you, and I think you can do it, and be honest where you have to be. But everybody should be evolving. Like, he's never stopped me from doing anything. Go and do any class, go out for a vacation with my friends. Nothing that makes me, that at that point of time I need in my life, has ever been told that you should not do it.
Right.
So I feel if you evolve together, if only one of you is evolving and the other is not, then it's going to be a problem.
Right.
Because then you're like, oh, you're a very different person, because I've remained the same person. But that's also your fault. Why haven't you evolved? Why haven't you gone out and done what you wanted to? If you had to go for that vacation, why haven't you gone for it? Nothing.
But it's easier said than done, right?
It is.
Yeah, because the thing is that it's, while you obviously would want to do that, and you would want to possibly do things, it is also difficult, because sometimes to explain that to your potential
But that's why
partner,
you have to be friends with your potential partners. We can't just this only thing of being lovers or in a relationship is so bad for a relationship. You have to be friends. Tomorrow your friend says, I want to go for a 45-day world tour. You'll be like, go for it, guy. Go for it. Start a blog, do Instagram for here. You'll help them, but you won't do that same for your partner. Why? Because you're selfish. You're like, I don't want this person to go away from me. I need this person. But I feel if you do enough for yourself, you won't need that person. You'll have your own shit to do, right? That's why you'll be like, it's okay. You want to go for that? I'll figure out my own stuff. So you have to keep evolving and let the person evolve as well. I think that's the only time when this conversation of you've changed so much won't happen, because you would have changed, they would have changed, and you're okay with the change. It's okay. I mean, I feel love is it adapts also to people. When you love a person, doesn't matter now if they're fat, thin, have they lost their looks. So, but I feel what matters, those are very frivolous things. What matters is how passionate they're about life. How are they working on themselves? How are they working on their passions? Like, okay, if tomorrow I gave up writing and I became this person who doesn't like writing or doesn't like doing all the things that make me, then you can tell me I don't love you anymore, because who are you now? You've given up all the things that made you, right? But so that's what you have to keep doing he's not going to tell me you're fat now, so I don't love you. It's going to say, but Aastha was this person who wanted to write the next Pulitzer book. Where's that person? So then I feel that's more important. Keep working. Very important to keep working on yourself to get a good partner.
So that's very interesting, because that brings me to the conversation about two things. Number one, self-esteem, and number two is mental health.
Yeah.
The reason is because I think as much as love that you can get and you can give, it's a lot about who you are, and you have to work on yourself. Do you think the generation of today is self-aware about any of those things?
I think they're very self-aware on a very like a very shallow way. They have all this therapy speak that they use, right? Like your mental health and stuff like that. But go to the therapist. Like, figure out. I feel it's true, or your relationship with your parents defines the partner you pick later in life. If you had a good relationship with your father or your brother, you will have a good man in your life. And the same with women, men who have maybe mommy issues. So figure it out, go to a therapist, talk about that, say, I feel like this because my parents didn't have a good relationship. So I've not had a relationship. It does affect it. My father was like this, that's why I'm like this. My mother, I always felt I was asking for, my mother, I looked at her as the caregiver. Now I look at my partner as the caregiver because you replace your mom with your partner. So I feel it's there, but on a very shallow level. You have to do the work, you have to go to therapy. You have to realize you don't need to go to therapy. वो ही नहीं है कि no, I can figure that out. But then why aren't you having successful relationships? I feel for me, it has really been that I have had a great relationship with my father all through my life. And I still have a great relationship. He is the most important man in my life, I would say. I have a great relationship with my brother. So I feel you look at men in a very different way because you've been raised in a certain way. Maybe if I didn't have that, I would have had that to talk about in therapy. I might have other things to talk about, but I feel you have to take care of your mental health. So go to a therapist. It's not a big deal anymore. It's not taboo anymore.
Is it not? Because I think even in terms of marriage counseling as well, or even if you like take therapy, the first question when you even ask someone that, okay, you know what, maybe I might be open to therapy, or I might want to take it, the first look that you get is always like, oh, okay, you are in
don't hang
therapy.
out with those people because you should be allowed to do all these things. I feel I don't think it's a big deal anymore. You should go to a therapist. It's very important. Sometimes, I mean, last year or something, I spoke to a therapist just because I was feeling very overwhelmed with work. It was and you can't always download on your partner or your friends because you're just like babbling. This is what's happening at work. So you talk to a person who's a neutral person, and they give you sort of, even one line will be such a different perspective that it brings your brain back to, and you don't need to do it for all time. You can do it maybe, for 2 months when you're feeling overwhelmed. You need to talk to someone who is very neutral to everything that's happening with you. So I feel it's I don't think you should talk to people who judge you for therapy as well. Because why? I mean, don't tell your parents. Parents won't understand it because parents will say mental health कुछ होता ही नहीं है. मतलब just like my father would say, you have everything. What is wrong with you? You have a good job, you have a good partner, you have money, you have good parents. What is the problem? I'm like, but is that it? Like, you have, we are spending our lives on our phones. It's a very different world out there. We are always on Instagram. We're very different people. But your parents won't understand it. So there's no need to even make them understand it. Let them be who they are and you do your thing.
Right.
So, but your age group or your partner should be open to you doing all these things. I think these are some of the things you can, green flags, like if they support your therapy, if they don't say, what's wrong with you? Why do you have to go to a therapist? And those are also maybe red flags.
But how, like you mentioned about, someone being a caregiver. Okay. So that brings me to a interesting idea. Constantly throughout the journey of your relationships, you are always changing.
Sure.
When you are an individual, that means you are not someone at that point of time. Either you are in a relationship where there's give and take. Then when you change over, and for a woman who becomes a mother and a partner, then she's either a caregiver, caretaker, whatever. Same for the husbands as well. They either become a father. And in that journey and in that dynamic, how do you still continue to grow from what you are supposed to do as your primary give and take, and yet at the same time grow that relationship?
I think I was talking about this with someone because there was this whole conversation about what a man is supposed to do and what a woman is supposed to do, right? And I feel that those roles are dependent on what phase of life you're in. So there could be a time when the woman is earning and the man is not earning, and man is at home. So man will do the things. Now you'll expect, bhai, if I'm working all day, then you can figure out what is lunch and dinner. And if you have a child, then look after the child, right? And there will be times when the man is busy and you've reached home early. So you'll figure out what is dinner. Or we live in India where we can hire people to do these things. You'll figure out a way. So I feel you have to be okay with the fact that sometimes one person will be the caregiver and one person will be the caretaker. It's not always equal. It could be. That would be ideal if both are working, both get money, but both are responsible for the house. both say, oh, we share the chores, then you share chores, right? You say, you do that. I'm not interested in the kitchen at all. So I will tell my husband, please figure it out because I have no clue. But I will be more aesthetically involved in the house. I'll, do the bed. I'll change the curtains because I like doing those things. I'll bring flowers every week to put in the house. So we've divided our according to our interests. And if I'm not interested, I'll say, if you can't do it, we'll just get the maid to do it because I'm not going to do it. So I think those conversations are, and also I feel you shouldn't change what you expect from your partner as the relationship goes ahead. I've never been the person who is cooked. Like my parents don't expect it from me. So why do you think 10 years later I will become that person? You can hope for it. I can hope for it. I would love to become that person who goes home and makes a fresh meal. I would love to be that person. But I'm not that person. So to ask me after 10 years that why don't you know how to cook is the most ridiculous thing So I feel, again, it comes down to working on yourself and being accepting of your partner working on
But how
themselves.
self-aware do you think people are? Like, for example,
They're
you
not
said,
self-aware,
yeah,
but that's why relationships are not working. I feel I am at 42. I can say all those things because I've gone through all those things and I've had that experience. So I hope that my experience can, if we are talking about it, somebody can take from that experience. But I do feel, you learn your mistakes and you learn. So there's a reason why relationships are not working out because you're not self-aware. Sometimes you could be the toxic person. You're always talking about the other person being toxic, but you're toxic in many ways, right? So we have to figure out where we are toxic first and what are our triggers and why does it trigger us and can we work on that? I think even if you don't go to therapy, read a lot, read books. There are so many books written about everything. Books they give you everything without being judgmental about it, So read books, follow some nice creators who you relate to. A lot of people write into me saying that we're at the same age as you and we are having the same thoughts, but we are not putting it out because not everybody is the type who can speak, who are vulnerable on a social media, on a platform. But they're like, when you talk about it, we are like, okay, I'm also feeling the same. Maybe I can try this, I went for lunch one day and there was a girl sitting there and after a while she came to me and she's like, it's because of you I'm having lunch alone because you said go out for a meal alone, right? Why do I have to always have lunch or breakfast with someone else? I can sit myself. And she's like, I took out time today for myself to come and have lunch. So I feel you can get it in many ways. Self-awareness can come with following nice creators on social media. I love social media for that. It gives you find someone who's saying something completely out there and you're like, I relate to that, right? I want to try and do that. So use social media, read, watch YouTube videos about everything. There's everything on your fingertips for you to grow. If you feel you want to take a vacation, go take a vacation. But I feel we're living in this really mad, crazy world and we have to find good mental health in that mad, crazy world. Not all of us can live in like a beach place or go to Goa and live there. We can't do that. So the best way of doing it is make it a part of your daily.
What is a healthy relationship according to you?
I think a healthy relationship is where you're meeting each other midway every day. It has to be every day. So where you're not expecting the other person to make your life or break your life. Like you're making your own life and you don't resent the other person for what they are doing in their own life. And together you make it like a point to spend quality time together but be your own people. So you're two people living together, but who have their own individualities. I feel there will be conflict, but you have to find a healthy way of resolving that conflict. And if you work on yourself, you will also say something differently instead of shouting. So it's all about, I feel, two people who are actually, at the end of the day, they're two people who are working on themselves in every sphere, be it mentally, physically, career, what they want to do in life, how they want their lives to end up. Everything, they're working on themselves, and then you can work together at your relationship.
And so what is a toxic relationship?
Where you're adapting to another person's life. You've let go of everything that was you to fit into this other person's life, or you've forgotten who you were. Like I even feel when women become mothers, sometimes they forget who they were. They've become so involved. I agree. I mean, maybe you have to give 5 years to that plan. That is the plan. The 5 years I will. And I've seen kids who have been raised by their mothers, and they are very different from kids who are just left alone, right? They're very well behaved, I mean, they're nice kids. So giving that importance is right, but don't forget who you are, what makes you happy. Go and meet your school friends, college friends, have a drink, work on your dreams. Then again, it comes from having a good partner. I think all comes from
But
having a good
wouldn't that
partner.
midway be the same? Like, for example, you said that healthy relationship is something where where you're meeting like midway every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a toxic one is not
No,
when
toxic one is not midway. One is here.
Right.
Like this is, if you and I are there, so this is Bhavya and Aastha is right next to Bhavya. Aastha is
Right.
not midway.
Okay.
So both of you have to come midway. I have changed everything to be with Bhavya, but that's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I've forgotten who I was. Am I working on the things I wanted to do? Maybe my partner's making a lot of money and I'm just being at home looking after the kids. That could be a choice, but is that a choice? Or after a while, is that the way of living that you've got used to it? So I feel that eventually is not a healthy relationship, because somewhere you resent your partner for making you do this. You're not going to resent your kids. You love your kids. You would do that for them. But I feel, yeah, I mean, never forget who you are. Work on yourself. And there are a lot of people who've done things from home. They've become writers or, photographers. They've started their own businesses from home. I think they're much happier because at least they're doing something, Women I'm talking about. But I really feel a healthy relationship is where both of them are working. If one person is working on themselves and the other person's not, that's not going to work out. It's not balanced also. One person is making money, going out, doing their thing, being all the things that they want to be, and the other person's just at home. How's it?
Yeah, I think mentally also you don't grow that much.
So you have to be equal. Yeah.
You spoke a little bit earlier about cheating or infidelity. I think I come across a lot of people wherein even after infidelity, they still linger around a relationship because they have children, or they still probably are still hung up on that concept of the person who they fell in love with.
But I feel, Bhavya, people change. I don't feel infidelity is a reason to leave a relationship.
Really?
Why? People change. And I told you it's not done because you're not a good person or you're not attractive enough or you're not giving them. It's because of what's lacking in themselves that they've gone out.
But then in this case, like, what do you, for the other person, right? Say, for example, if you and your partner, between the two of you, if one person has basically cheated, right? And if you still have a life which you obviously want to grow, then isn't it difficult for...
It'll be difficult, but I feel if you...
But you think that's not a reason why somebody should be...
No, I feel if you really feel that this person is always going to end up hurting you. It's not the person what they've done or the magnitude of it or the way they did it or the way they behaved is something that you cannot align with at all. Please leave the person. But if you still love the person and they are committed to trying to at least make it work, I think you should give it some time. See how it goes. I mean, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be hard in everything. Why do you stay in jobs? You have a bad day, but you still stay in the job. Life is throwing things at you every day. You don't quit life, right? So, I mean, I watched this lovely documentary and she says it's about courage. And it's like courage is turning up every day. It's not doing some great big shit. It's like turning up every day when you have no control over the outcome of the day. So just coming to work every day, coming to the relationship every day, getting up and trying to make it work is courage itself. So it will be very hard, but maybe again, go for counseling, figure out why did they do it. Maybe they'll tell you something about themselves you never knew and you'll realize, maybe they'll say, I was feeling ignored by you. You were not, like, there was something, I tried to talk to you, but you didn't listen to me. So it will be hard to hear that because you're like, that doesn't mean you go out and cheat. But people do crazy stuff. We've all done crazy stuff. It's not just cheating. You do bad things to people. You lie to people. You hurt your friends. We're not everyone is just walking around doing all the right things. Someone will be bad to someone. You'll be a villain in someone's story, right? So, I mean, people who have quit, maybe my team would say Aastha is the worst boss. But there are many who are still there who would say, no, but I learned so much from Aastha. Or I've done that to people I've worked with. So it's the same. Why do we make the person we're in love with so... They have all the power and they have to be the best people and they have to give us everything we want. It's so much pressure on one person. They have to be everything.
Right. But then I don't, do you think it's, so there are two aspects to that. Number one, of course, is that you have to forgive and move on.
Yes.
Because that's when you realize, okay, you know what, I really want to make this work. But then another aspect is that you need to trust them again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest barrier that...
But that's, again, it's you. They might be ready to be trusted. They might not even do anything.
They might not do anything ever in life.
Then how are you going to do it? Again, you go to therapy, you talk about it. Why can't you trust people? Maybe that's who you are. You don't trust people so easily and you trusted this person and they've like just let you down in the worst way. But that's the thing. I mean, you have to trust again or love again. Then you'll never have any more experiences because you'll be so scared to do anything.
Right.
You know, it's a nice example is, I always give this example, Jennifer Aniston, when Brad Pitt left her for Angelina Jolie, people asked her, will you love again? Will you trust anyone again? She said, why would I cut off my nose to spite my face? That means why will I not love again? I want a good life. I want to love again. I'm hurt. I'll take my time, but I will love again. Why will you stop doing it? So it's your battle that you have to... Now, if you do it, trust them again and they do it again, then of course, you know that this person has issues which they are not working on. They have to figure out their issues. Until they figure out, you're not going to be a part of their life. So then it makes sense. But I think that trusting thing is not their responsibility. It's your responsibility to trust again. They can be doing everything right. You will never trust them.
Is love different for different people at different ages?
Yeah, I'm sure.
The concept of it.
Yeah. I feel right now, I had made a video about this, which was that I'm maybe perimenopausal, just before menopause. I'm 42. I'm going through so many changes. I have a very hectic, challenging work life. Love is very different for me. I just want someone who knows what's for dinner when I reach home. That's love for me, right? Someone who's like not asking me what do you want. They've just, oh, there's Coke in the fridge. There's some snacks for you. There's like, lunch is prepared. Maid has been told what to do. Clothes are washed. Great. That's love for me now. Because I don't have to think about those things when I come home. The AC is on. Just go and sleep, right? That's love for me. I think it's just about small things now. It's not the big gestures. I don't care about Valentine's or any of those. But I just want someone who makes your life easier, lets you vent, says, okay, let's sit, watch a movie, let's, de-stress. What do you want? What do you want today? Are you in a mood to talk? If you're not in a mood to talk, then leave you alone. Just to someone who reads you well and doesn't help you. Nobody can help me with my work challenges except me, but is there to do the chota things, So love for me is very different. But I feel at 25, though, you need all the grand gestures. You need a person. But then maybe at that time you need it. You need someone to tell you that they love you for you to figure out if I want to be with this person or not. You can't read minds at that time, right? You want someone to say, I love you. Let's make a go of it. You can't just sit around in a relationship. At 35 specifically, in 30s, you want someone to say, I want to get married to you. I want to have a child with you, those things, because you're in that stage of your life, right? I don't think it's also about age. It's about, we're supposed to do certain things at certain ages. Like at 42 now, I'm past the age I have to have a child. So that's not a conversation for me. But at 30, it could be a conversation for someone. So I feel it is different according to your where you are, and you have to find a person who gets that, and you get it for them. Maybe at 30s you're working on your career, and I need to get that, right? So it's going to be a mix and match. That's why you have to.
But is it difficult to also find love once you've passed a specific age, especially for women? Like you mentioned this about.
I think it's not difficult to find love, but it's difficult to find a love, the kind of love you want. I want to get married. I want to have children. Ab aisa, I mean, biologically also, how are you going to do that at after 40? Maybe, I mean, women put too much pressure on themselves to do all these things. I'm nearing 40. I need to have children. Aaj Kal, everything is there. IVF, you can adopt a child, whatever, figure it out. No. Uh, so I feel you can find love, but you can't find the exact kind of love you want. That's not going to happen. That's why that list needs to be burnt. Okay, I need this in a man. No, you can easily find love, but people are looking for the perfect love according to their needs. That is what they're not finding. That is why they're going from one relationship to another. Like Ankit, who used to do the podcast with me, he's always said this: it's an illusion of choice. You think the next person will give you everything, so you swipe. Then you think the next person will give you everything, but it's not going to happen. So I feel we can all find people, but we want the exact perfect person who will make us feel a certain way. He has to have all those things.
But you mentioned about red flags, right? Like earlier you said that these are the most important thing is somebody who basically changes you.
Yeah.
Or you as a being. Then what are the green flags? I know it's subjective and it's very different for different people, but something which is at least sits in a general box or like a larger scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, a general green flag would be exactly someone who lets you be who you are, however crazy that is. Someone who is on board with your choices at work, in your personal life, and will give you a gentle nudge where they feel that you need to improve, but is not going to become combative about it. Will give you your space and time to do it. Obviously, I'll say, be healthy. It's for your own good. You're going to have a heart attack at 40 if you don't do this. But if I say that, nobody's ever going to do anything. You have to do it in a gentle way. So someone who treats you sensitively, gently, someone who also understands what are your triggers are. So obviously you work on your triggers, but they can also understand your triggers if they're with you. I don't think that's such a bad thing. But the other person has to be working on their triggers.
True.
So it should not be always like, I will always have these triggers and now you get used to it. No. You work on the triggers, and till then I will be sensitive to your triggers. I will try and not say things that hurt you or that turn you on. So I think anybody who's sensitive to your needs and your discomfort and works with that, but and also, I mean, who's themselves evolving. That's the biggest, as I said, biggest green flags are when both people are working on themselves. For me, that is the biggest green flag.
Got it. So in a work, and
I mean, I would just say here, like, if you look at our parents' generation, a lot of relationships in those generations are not good relationships because people did not work on themselves. Neither the fathers or the mothers worked, and now they're bitter, they fight with each other. Some of them just live together because that's the life they know. They can't take that thing of getting divorced because that also they don't know. Our parents' generation don't know the word divorce. Like, for them, it's like, no, we rather just stay. What is wrong? But it's wrong that you don't talk to each other, or that you always, you're bitter. Your father did this, your mother did this. It's a very common thing in our parents' generation. There are many people who talk about their parents not getting along at this age. That's because they never worked on themselves. They just lived life. He had kids. Then some people are lucky and they still get along. But I feel they still have, if you see those couples, they will always have their own interests. One will be doing her gardening. One will be, father will be doing something, or if he's still active, going out and working, or mothers are working till later, they join some NGOs, they do some work. They are always happier because they are happier with their own lives. So it's very important. Yeah.
You mentioned a little earlier about work and like kind of the balance, but in today's day and age where everybody is obviously working so much, right? If two people, irrespective of the age bracket, if they're already working, then naturally they come back, they're very tired and things like that. Then when you progress, get married and have children as well, how do you keep the spark alive?
Children, I mean, you should tell me how you keep the spark alive because you have children.
I haven't tried.
Yeah, yeah, but children, I feel, are spark killers, right? I was very wrong thing to say. But I mean, they take so much of your energy, and you have to, especially in the first few years, I think you have to be completely about them. Where is the time for yourself? But other than that, I think do things together. Which the other, it's lucky when you're with a person who likes the same kind of things that you do.
Hmm.
But does that always happen in arranged marriages and all? Maybe not. But I feel give yourself uh, time together, which could be just sitting at home and watching Netflix, or just one day just having a drink and chatting. Like, I met a school friend of mine recently. Her husband's in the army, in the Navy. He's in the Navy, and they're in Delhi, and they're like they have a lovely house with like a big balcony. Delhi houses and army Navy houses, big. And I was like, what do you guys do every evening? And they're like, we just sit here, have a drink every evening. We watch the planes because they're very close to the airport. The planes fly and we chat about the day. And that's a nice, like, just that could help keep the spark alive, right? And I feel the spark is overrated. What is the spark? Spark is only there in the beginning. That's why many people just love the beginnings because the spark is so much.
Yes.
That chemistry is there are many couples who after many years still have great chemistry. They roast each other, they are fun with each other, but that's not everyone. So I feel like we put too much attention on these stupid things which we're supposed to have in a relationship, which is spark, chemistry. It could just be comfort, it could just be silence, like sitting together and you reading and someone else scrolling. I mean, how does it matter? So I feel if you can exist together in silence and chill out and just say one thing, oh, I watched something or I read something, and exchange that with each other, that itself is also nice. Why do we need to keep a spark alive? A spark is so, sometimes, as someone said, no, sometimes we mistake butterflies are actually anxiety. It's not butterflies.
Yes.
It's that early thing of, is he going to message me? Is he going to call me? Why do I always want it? It's such a disconcerting feeling to have. So why don't we think about how to keep companionship alive, or how to keep just like each other? I don't even think love each other. It's just like spending time with each other, being in the same room, being in the same bed, uh, doing what the other person likes, and once going, if there are couples where one person is very outgoing and one person is completely home, but go for the party once in a while, have a drink with your partner, and then the partner can stay at home. 1 week you can do in night and an out night, but you have to do that for
Balance,
them.
yeah.
And the other 2 weeks, just do your own thing. So it's okay. I want to go out and have a fun time, and my husband wants to stay at home. It's fine.
It's interesting what you say. The reason is because you're kind of focusing on what is like kind of a pre-societal thought process of what people perceive and what they've always been fed or what they've always been aligned towards.
Yeah.
So in that respect, there's a very interesting, a question or a thought that's come in my mind, which is it, is monogamy, like monogamous, whatever, because it's also a link to what we discussed earlier about infidelity and cheating. Is monogamy a real human need as such for people, or is it something which is being, pre-instilled into your head because that's what you've been seeing?
It is. But you have to be very evolved to not want it. I mean, now it's starting. Polyamory is a big thing. Bombay is having polyamory meetups. Yeah, there are a lot of people. There's a Instagram handle called Sangya, which is made by a throuple. There are 3 of them in the relationship, and they are all polyamorous as well. So they have their partners outside the throuple, and together they live together. There are 3 people in a relationship, and when you watch their Instagram, they've normalized it very nicely. It's not about sex. It's not about infidelity. It's not about, oh, I want to be with 5 people. I want to have. It's them as a throuple are it's emotional. It's very fun and friendly. They laugh together. They tag each other in funny relationship memes that oh, don't watch that show without me. When your partner watches that. So they've normalized it, and I think that's very nice. And there are a lot of polygamy, I mean, polyamory is making a comeback, as they say. It was there before, so it's making a comeback. And I feel that's great if you can let go of things like jealousy and ownership over your partner, or having a say in everything that they do. If again, if you work on yourself enough, maybe that will also happen, right? Uh, but right now we are monogamous.
Right.
I mean, even LGBTQ relationships are monogamous. Many of them are together. They're fighting for a cause. They're fighting for the right to get married. That means they want to be monogamous. So it's a nice feeling. I don't think monogamy is a bad thing, or that it's a deterrent to a good life. It's a good feeling to have that one connection with one person who will stay with you till the end of life. I mean, your kids won't stay there, your parents won't stay there, but this person is yours for life, like your ride or die till the end of life. So that's nice to have. And if you have more of those, why not? Like, people have friends who are now living together, who are all single. They've bought houses together and they're all friends living together. So the world is changing. I think it depends on what you are okay with. If you want to be polyamorous, please be honest and have 5 polyamorous relationships with people who are into polyamory.
Right.
Or if you want to just live with a friend, or you want to be gay, or you want to be monogamous. So I feel we have to be open to everything.
You spoke about jealousy just now, that brings me to a very interesting question. Like, I think at some point of time, with individuals, whether a person or with a partner, in any relationship, you are bound to get jealous of something, someone, anything like that. And then there are people who are obviously one step ahead, wherein they are really, really jealous. In cases like that, how do you deal with a jealous partner?
I don't think you should be with a jealous person. Why? That's a red flag there. Too much jealousy. It's nice to have a little bit. I mean, it's nice if someone says, you joked about it, oh, don't talk to that guy, oh, he just but why would you be jealous? It's different if it's a joke, it's a roast, nice one. Oh, I don't like him because he likes you, that kind of thing. But if you trust the person, then why are you jealous? How does it matter? I really feel that it boils down, jealousy is very strange because it boils down to you not trusting your partner. It has nothing to do with the other person. How is the other person going to do anything if your partner is not into it? So it's a distrust on your partner. Jealousy is that. It's not about the other person. So again, to work on it. I don't think it's so hard to be with someone who's jealous. Then again, they'll stop you from doing everything in life because they'll be jealous of everything. They'll be jealous of random people who are not, maybe not somebody you're going to be attracted to either. They're just going to be jealous of your life outside, which is not them. So why do you want that? It's going to stop you from doing lots of things in life. They wouldn't want you to step out of the house.
True.
Ideally they'll be like, "Ghar pe kaam karo. Don't talk to any male or
and I'm sure that would be like the extreme level of jealousy, which is just, I think, impossible to deal with.
Chota mota jealousy is fine, but I think you should really then talk to your partner about working on it. And you both can work on it. Maybe there is something you are doing that is triggering them again. Maybe there is a friend you're extra friendly with or extra flirty with. That could just be you. But maybe that's again being sensitive. You can say, oh yeah, I think I did overdo it. Sometimes there are friends who you're extra with, but maybe it's not meant for your partner's eyes. Or, you can be that way when you're together, like if you're school friends and everybody's getting drunk and you're just like lying in each other's laps. But that's how you grew up, right? That's cool. But if there's a partner, then be sensitive to that partner or don't call them for those things, So I really feel that it's you have to balance it out. Maybe some of them are justified in their jealousy, and then you see what is triggering them. Why are they uncomfortable? Is there a person they don't like? Maybe you get them to meet each other, and then you say, "Ki bhai, there's nothing. She's a friend or he's a friend, and I'll call him over. To see that." I feel I've had a few platonic relationships in my life, and my partner's, he knows about them, and I've called them over and he's actually gone and sat in the next room because he's your friend, So, theek hai, I mean, how does it matter?
But it's interesting you speak about platonic relationships. There's this, I don't know how people will perceive this or how you will also think about this, but it's there's a question a long time back that a friend asked us. He's like, what will you be more hurt about, a physical or an emotional relationship, if your partner is having either?
I think people are going to be more hurt about physical only, because
Mm.
for them that is cheating, or that is, don't cross that line. I feel, but I don't know. Yeah, emotionally also, I think you can cheat emotionally. But again, you have to ask yourself that question: why can I not have an emotional connect with a third person? Why can't I do that? Why does it have to be romantic? Why does it have to be with the same sex? If I talk to a girlfriend all night about my feelings, there's no problem there. But if I talk to a friend who's a boy all night about my feelings, then there's a problem. So why are we friends? Are friends? So I don't think it matters. I mean, emotional connection with a friend, it can be very deep. There's some things I might only talk to my friends, which I might not talk to my husband, because we're friends. We share different things. We say different things to each other. So I mean, Ankit and I, who did Love Aaj Kal, we talked about crazy things to each other. Even on the podcast, we talked about things which my husband and I might never have a conversation about that, because it's not in our sphere of interest, right? But with friends, you can talk anything. So I don't think, I feel emotionally we should have many more connections, only because one person cannot satisfy all our emotional needs. So we should have multiple emotional connections regardless of sex, or as in regardless of what gender they are. Yeah. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay. So work, and dating life. I think you mentioned earlier that, and with most people who are working, even someone who's fresh out of the blocks, like 22, 23, whatever, they spend 80% of their life
In
at
office.
work,
Yeah.
in office. Is it good to date in an office environment?
Maybe not in the same team.
Okay.
Could be, no? You might get competitive, or if one person gets a promotion and you don't, or how do you see, especially men and women, you might feel that the boss is being nicer to either one. Why do you want to have those? It's just causing stress. So I feel I've known a lot of people who have met at offices, but one person has always gone and worked somewhere else. Then they take that thing, and why would you want to be all day with the person that you live with or married to? Why would you want to do that? Maybe, I mean, a lot of people start businesses together, right? Husband, wives.
Yeah.
So that's but maybe they've already been married for a while. They know each other. They can figure it out, or they have the same outlook, or they do the same thing, which is also rare. Like I would like it if we didn't date at work, because even now I've realized even having friends at work is a deterrent, especially when you become senior. It's not something you can do, because your decisions are always questioned when they're against a friend, right? And that can't be can't be something you're thinking at work, because how are you going to work then if you have to make every decision thinking who are you being nice to or not being nice to or being sensitive to? Then it's very hard to make decisions. Anyway, it's hard now to work, because you have to be sensitive, you have to be woke, you have to know everything. There's a protocol which is much more strict now at workplaces. So you're anyway thinking about making an inclusive workplace and all. Uspe abhi now you have to put your partner or friends in it. I would say not even have friends at work, unless you're the same level, you're in a team, you're friends. But as soon as one person goes a little senior, I feel that
Dynamic
relationship changes. Yeah, that dynamic changes. So I don't know if you can maintain them. I have like maybe now one friend at work, and she's in a different team. So it's very different. We talk about work, but we're not talking about the same kind of work, because she does a different thing and I do a different thing. She has a different boss and I am boss of mine. So then it works, right? But otherwise I don't think so.
It's very interesting you talk about this, because relationships per se between two people is one thing. Of course, in friendships as well, you have like constant relationships with so many people. And when you spoke about this, that that the dynamic changes.
Yeah.
I think it becomes so interesting. The reason is because how much of a vein do friends have in relationships today?
You're asking me the wrong question at the wrong time. I just lost a friend, in that way that her boyfriend does not like me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was shocked when it came up because I was like, how does that matter? And why am I supposed to know about it? You cannot like me. Obviously, not everyone will like me. There have been times my partner has not liked many of my friends. Ki, are, that one's too extra, that one is too whatever, pretentious, that one said this, which was I found very whatever. But they've never found out about it. He and I will talk about it. And I will say, yes, I agree that maybe that person was out of line or whatever. And then you give it some time. You don't force them to hang out with that person. And in a few months or something, that person will, your partner will come around also. Ki, I've not seen him or her for a long time. Kya hua? You know? Because I feel that's how friendships and relationships should be. Even the friends have to suck it up, even if you don't like the partner.
Of course.
You can obviously say that I think there's something off about this person, because you love your friend. You want them to be happy. If you see a red flag, you should be allowed to say it. But at the end of the day, it's their decision to remain with that person or not. And then you have to make peace with it. Right? And the same way the partner has to make peace with your friends. If they don't like the friend should not find out about that. Neither should find out. It's between you and your partner and you and your friend, whatever conversation, and then they get along. They have to get along for your sake. I feel it should be. What did the Spice Girls say? If you want to be my lover, you have to get along with my friends. Yeah. That's exactly that, True. Right? So True. I feel, unless your partners, unless your friends have something major against your partner's done something very bad to them, or your friends are completely toxic or something, I still feel that in the end it's your choice to be with either one, and nobody can tell you who to choose, or
I think it's wrong as well, right? Primarily to ask someone to cut off with a friend.
Cut off bhi nahi, matlab just to even make it uncomfortable, because you've changed the dynamic of the friendship once the other people know. Like if I tell, when you've told me that your boyfriend doesn't like me, now that the dynamic has already changed. I don't never need to know about it. It's between both of you, figure it out. Out of 5 times of us hanging, maybe he can hang out with us once because he doesn't like me. But the rest of it, he just suck it up. Live with it,
Is it true that for women's friends are always the ones who always have to sign off on any relationship?
Well,
even for men, that for that matter, actually.
Yeah, I feel that you could ask for an opinion, and I should be allowed to give my opinion, but after that, it's up to you. We are all in really bad. We've been in bad relationships where our friends have told us, please break up, but we've not done it. Where you've always liked the wrong boy, and the friend is saying, bhai, this is gonna hurt you, but you've gone ahead with it. I think friends can just be there to pick up the pieces, or just give the advice or listen. But I think the person will do what they have to do. So I don't think women take those decisions if someone is signed off. You might ask someone, do you like him? And you might care if your friends like him, but you're still going to go and do what you want to.
So primarily they've already made that decision. They just want the final
validation. Yep. And if you don't get it, you're still going to do what you want to do. You just want the friends to be around if the breakup happens. Then you call your friends and say, and then you can all bitch together. There are a lot of those memes about the friends seeing that the girl has gone ahead with the same partner after they've bitched him out last night.
True.
It's just that. I don't think anybody has to sign off on your relationship other than you.
Toxic friends. Yeah. Do you think that's a reality?
I'm sure that that's a reality. I feel in relationships, if you're letting your friend have so much control over your relationship, then there's something toxic about your friendship, right? Because you need that validation so much. But I feel friends should be happy for you. And I feel I've lost a lot of friends also who I've realized were never happy for me. It was always, you're a competition. or they'll even judge you like, oh, look at her on Instagram, she puts always out there. Or they'll make sarcastic comments about, oh, we know where you had dinner, and I'm like, how does it matter? My personality should, like, the good friends would be like, I love it that you're so open and vulnerable. You know, Aastha can, she's the type who we always knew will do this, always was outgoing, whatever. Those are your friends. Like, I meet my school friends and they're all like, you're a celebrity, and you're just like, no, I'm not, but great if you think so, like once I was with my school friends and someone came to me and said, oh, we love your Instagram. After that, they've not let it go. It's like every time we meet, they're like, where are your fans? And those are your friends who are always like hyping you up. So I feel friends who don't hype you up are toxic. I do feel somewhere it comes, anyone who's competing, comparing, they're all toxic friends.
But do you think that, I mean, I've met a lot of people like that. I still think I still meet a lot of people like that. And
I'm
not
sure necessarily a lot of people
friends.
Think you're extra.
No. Not friends, I would say per se, but I mean in general, I think I meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
But do you think that there's only like probably like maybe 2 or 3 or 5% of the people that you know in friendship who might be like that? Because at some point of time, within every dynamic or every relationship with friends, there will be some level of
I mean, at 42 I have 4 friends now. I feel I have like core friends are 5 friends who are in every respect, I'm good with that, right? Most people will be like that, but then they are your acquaintances, or they are your friends who you might share something with, or you have a nice time on lunch or drinks, that's it. They're not your core friends then. So I think you also have to be adaptable. Not everybody can be that perfect friend, again, like a perfect relationship. So I feel you have to be like, there could be a friend who you don't like many things about, but you've just accustomed to it. You're said ki no matter what, this person is my friend. There are many of those also, right? But we just don't make them feel it, that we don't like those things. That is a no-no. That's a toxic person again. So I feel like there might be a lot of people who don't like you, or there might be a lot of people who are in, contention, or like who are in competition with you. Those are not your friends. Those are just a part of your larger circle. I feel, and you should not give that too much thought. Like, why this hurt me when my friendship ended was because I really thought she was a good friend. If it was some random person, I've lost random friends, but it's been fine. You moan over it like one day and you're like, oh shit, I wasted so much time. Yeah. But this was really close to me. That's why I felt it more, or maybe I got hurt more also. That how can your boyfriend not like me? I'm like your sister, right? So that's why it hurt me so much, and that's why it bothered me. The rest of them, how does it matter? I'm very like fluid about that now. I'm like, if you like me, great. And I forget also very soon. So if you're nice to me, then I'm nice to you. I've even forgotten what you've done to me. So yeah. How does it matter?
The younger generation, do you think that a lot of what they see today, I think it might be prevalent over generations as well, but I'm using it more of an example of what people are doing today. Do you think they idolize a lot of what they see in movies in terms of relationships? Like, for example, the iconic movies earlier, like Serendipity and all of these.
वो हमारे time पे थी.
That's what I'm saying. So during those times, how you had obviously those, and people would always go out, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
P.S. I love you. I think today's generation,
Fleabag, things like that. Yeah, I think they relate to that kind of character.
And do they like go out there and probably idolize and try and search that?
I'm sure, because we did that, right? My best friend's wedding. You watched all those stupid movies and said, oh, my best friend's wedding, So yeah, I'm sure they do. But again, there is a fine line. I mean, now what is happening is also that fiction is also made on relatable topics. So they've picked up the Gen Z tropes and said, oh, Gen Z likes this kind of thing. So Fleabag is a very Gen Z show, though she's much older, the writer and the actor. But it's that kind of lifestyle, right? Any of the recent shows, would you? Friends was very different. I feel that they're more millennial like us. But the new shows are all about that new vibe. If you even saw that school show, what was it, Elite Class करके एक आया था.
Okay.
Everybody's just with everyone, and
Okay.
it's all very fluid and non-binary and all those things. Like, it's very inclusive. Everything is very, very inclusive, which is good because representation matters in for the generation today, that you see yourself on screen, right? But it is fiction. Like, why are we letting, like, right now a movie came out which everybody's talking about, which is called The Idea of You, which has got Anne Hathaway, and Anne Hathaway is 40 dating a 24-year-old.
Yeah, I saw the movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, a 24-year-old rock star. And he's really pretty, and you're like, wow. I mean, I'd do him, but it's not real. To have that kind of relationship in real life is not possible. The book, I mean, there's a spoiler. The book, I think, ends with her deciding not to do it because it's not possible practically. And in the book, I think the daughter is getting too much affected that her mother's dating a 24-year-old rock star, which would happen, right? And you're affecting, I mean, it's the daughter's mental health and everything that is getting affected. That's why she decides to not get into it. So, which is very practical. So is it possible? It's not possible to have that kind of a relationship, or 50 Shades of Grey, or whatever, How much of it is real? Right. You can have, I mean, we've all had great moments in our life that are very romantic and very film-like, or, very larger than life, and you've had a great time, but you've gone back to your real life then. Maybe that's not possible all the time. Again, it's that building up of all the time chemistry, all the time love, all the time perfect relationships, which also Instagram of guys put out. All the couples, they look like their lives are perfect. You're always kissing, you're making coffee, you're making breakfast in bed. It's not like that. True. It's not. Breakfast in bed is like the biggest myth. Where is it happening? Maybe once in a while, right? So I feel, no, you should not do it. You can enjoy it like a fantasy. You saw Idea of You, I enjoyed it like a fantasy. It's a fun thing. You think about, oh, who's the young one I would like to date? Bas khatam. That conversation is with girlfriends and it's over. But that's not real life. So please don't do it, I would say.
I have a question, about the LGBTQ community. Again, I would say that I think my knowledge in that respect would probably be really very at the lower level. So are the dynamics of a relationship between a LGBTQ couple very different?
I don't feel so. I've talked to many people who are from the LGBTQ community. I've spent time with couples who are LGBTQ, maybe older couples because I'm that age group, not the younger lot. But I've worked with them. You've talked about relationships. They're pretty much the same. We all want the same things from our partner: attention, sex, whatever, love, larger gestures of affection. Is this a relationship or not? Where are we going? Does he even like me? We're all in the same boat. I think love is a very universal, it makes us all feel the same way. I have not noticed much difference. Maybe they date differently, or they find people differently, or they could be more open, or they could be more polyamorous than the normal heterosexual couple. But I feel they also feel the same heartbreak, or they're also as jealous, or don't want the partner to be with someone else. I feel relationships are same no matter what. No matter what sexual preference you have, it's the same.
I understand. Last question. 5 years down the line, of course, I think in every relationship or in every generation, I think things change. Right? They start focusing on different things. What do you think 5 years down the line? How different?
I think marriage might be out. Maybe not in India, but I do feel that marriage is now an outdated concept. Only your parents are interested in it, and they are forcing you. Like, there are a lot of people who wrote to me during Aaj Kal time saying that our parents, like, every day I'm hearing, I'm not married, I'm 35, I'm 35, I'm 35. So I think that our parents are still wanting us to get married. But I feel marriage should be it should be your choice to do it. It's not a thing anymore to be a part of your checklist as you're going ahead. You can have children without marriage. You can adopt without marriage. You can live together without marriage. You can be as committed as you are in a marriage without marriage. You can buy houses now. You can get insurance without marriage. How does it matter then? I mean, I feel it should now just be a choice you make in your life, not one of the big things like career, travel, I want to do this in my life. Marriage is not an achievement anymore. So I really feel that in 5 years, maybe we'll change more of our opinion and not judge people who are 35, 40, 45, not married. It should not be a conversation point. I hope it is not a conversation point. I also do feel the downside could be that we're getting very, very frivolous about our relationships. At least marriage is something that makes it more serious. You feel you're more committed. You can't just end it. You have to work on it. So it gives that gravitas to a relationship, which I feel now is gone. There's no gravitas to any relationship. You break up, you get a new boyfriend, or you swipe as much because of that illusion of choice that I might find someone. And I feel it's happening from both sides, men and women. It's not worse for one person. Maybe women talk about it more, but I feel men are as disturbed about dating as women are. They're as lonely. They're as much looking for someone. I had a podcast where I'd got men on it, and they had their own issues. Like, they were like, women only want a certain type of, you have to look like this. You have to be tall, which is the worst thing. I mean, because like, that's not in my control to be tall or not. I can work on the other things. Or they want you to have money. They want you to earn more than they earn. They want you to take you out. They want you to take them out for fancy dinners and pay for the dinner. So there are a lot of issues. So I feel men are as lonely or as disappointed or frustrated with the whole dating process. It's not just women. So I feel both are. So it's a very.
But do you think then, in many ways, of course, as generations are moving, we are obviously changing in terms of our thought process of what is happening more superficially. But deep down, irrespective of any age bracket that you are in, you still want those same.
You want love. I feel if you find love, I don't think that's going to change. I feel we all need love.
No, but like you're saying, for example, they still need to earn this much, they still need to do all. So that means you're still thinking in that same process that.
You are thinking, but I feel once you fall in love, that overrides everything. You might be with a random person and your friends will be, what do you see in this person? But you love that whole chemical thing has happened, and you now just see like diamonds coming out of them. You're just like, this person is perfect. So I feel we are stopping ourselves from falling in love because we have so much issue. Ye list ko to, as I said, burn karo. Your type, what is my type, don't have a type. I feel all of us are capable of falling in love if we just let ourselves be more vulnerable, be more accepting, be more liberal with what we want in a person. I feel if we find that acceptance and love from someone, we can figure out all the rest. All the rest is all whatever. You just need to find that companionship, that comfort, that love, that thing of, I can be whoever I want with this person and they're going to like me. I can be crazy and, dance badly and be short and be fat and they'll still like me. I think just we need to find that. That is the eternal innate need we have. You want that from your parents, you want that from your children, you want acceptance from someone. So I feel that is it. The rest I feel will evolve. It's evolving every day. Something or the other is happening. It's getting frivolous. And marriage, I mean, I don't think marriage is a thing. I think you should be committed to whatever you're in. So, and I feel just young people should not be so blasé about it. They should, I know you're trying to save yourself from hurt, but you have to be out there to find love. It's not going to come home and knock on the door. Universe works in that way, right? You put yourself out there and the universe will come halfway. Be it in anything, not just love and relationships. So that's my last word, I guess.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Aastha, for
Bhavya.
doing this. It was really good. I
Yeah,
think we touched upon so many topics.
I know. We can go on about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Love is something you can just talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. In friendships as well, actually.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting conversation. So maybe we'll actually
We
do
should,
this.
because I
Yeah.
feel as you get older, it's just everything changes.
Yeah, totally.
All the friends you thought you
Yeah.
had, like
Yeah.
I've gone back to my school gang, and it's very different because I'm just like, these are the people I grew up with, and now they are the ones who get me most. It's just so strange.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Over a
So-
course of when you are actually moving along and you are trying to build your own careers, and then suddenly one day you get an epiphany that, listen, like they are the ones who actually get you from the first day
Yeah,
onwards.
yeah.
And today I think they are the ones who
And
understand
they
you the
accept
best.
you. They don't judge you.
Hmm.
They are celebrating everything you are.
True.
Nobody's going to say, oh, why did
Absolutely.
Bhavya turn out like this? They'll be like, Arey, I thought knew you're going to do this only.
Hmm.
They still, I don't know, they just saw something in you when you were younger, and now you feel young also with them. I feel you have that certain enthusiasm for life again. So I don't know, friendships are a very important, it just changes when you grow older.
Understand. Yeah, next time for sure.
Done.
Sounds good. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Aastha. Hope you
Thank
had
you
fun.
for calling me. Yes, I did. Thank you.